So to start with, I want to tell you a story about a video that I call the one that got away. And it was lined up to be the most epic video that we had ever made on the channel. It was one of those jobs where you get the email come in and you're just like, oh my goodness, this is like the project of a lifetime. So it was an enormous £5 million castle in the countryside. And the customer contacted us. They were a fan of the YouTube channel and they wanted us to come down and basically have a look at the wiring, help them to make plans for rewiring the whole place and do the whole shebang, solar, battery storage, etc. And so we planned an absolutely epic day of filming down at this castle. We got somebody in from the Tesla Owners Club to bring their Tesla Model X Plaid in, just so that we could get the opening drone shot driving up the driveway up to this castle. We got the whole team in, 2 cameras, and we basically filmed a tour of this absolutely stunning castle. And it was breathtaking. It felt like going back in time, you know, being in like a period drama or something. And we got to tour the basement of this castle that was like a dungeon. We got to see the crazy wiring that was super ancient, and the grounds themselves. So this property was 10,000 square feet, and then the grounds were like 45 acres. It took us like 2 or 3 hours just to tour the property before we even started filming. It was absolutely amazing. And the customer gave us free reign to go wherever we wanted, to show whatever we wanted, to make an amazing video. So we spent a really long and exciting and fun day touring around this castle, filming loads of content. And then it got to the point where we went back home, we edited it all up, and we made a video that we were so proud of, that we were so excited to put out, about this potential amazing project that we were going to be working on, just showcasing some crazy wiring in an old castle and all of the potential upgrades that we were looking to achieve on this project. And then we shared the draft video with the customer, and that was where the plot twist happened, because the customer just got cold feet. And for whatever reason, they decided they didn't want to share with the world the wiring of their castle. They didn't want to put it out there on the internet. And so all of the excitement and all of the hard work and the preparation for this video, and it's just there unlisted on our YouTube page for nobody to see other than ourselves as an internal YouTube team. And we watch it every so often, and we wish that we could put it out, but we can't. And that's just one of the joys and sadnesses of YouTube, is that sometimes you get the one that got away, just like we did on that particular project. So I just wanted to share you that little story, because it's something that I've not really told anyone about other than our team. And you might not know some of the craziness that goes on behind the scenes of trying to prepare amazing videos for you guys. But anyway, thanks for all of you who are joining. I'm just seeing you pouring in the comments, and loads of questions and things coming in. So just to give you a little summary of what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to do a Q&A session first. We're going to talk about, well, I'm just going to try and answer as many of your questions as I can. Talk about the year that we've had at Artisan Electrics, some of the highlights, going to go through some of those. And then I've got some big news to share with you guys as well at the end of the video. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So yeah, let's have a little look through the comments. Now, I did take some questions earlier from some of our electricians community members. So thanks to all of you who submitted your questions there. If you're not a member of the electricians school community yet, it's free. I'll leave a link at the end of this video where it's basically a community of people who help each other out and talk about business and stuff. As quite a cool place to be, and we've got nearly 500 members now on that community. So one question that came in was about my business goals for the coming year, and this is an interesting one, because in the past I used to always do like a video to sort of hold myself accountable. So if you look back on the channel, because we've got over 700 videos, I think, now on the channel, if you look back, you'll see previous videos of me saying, these are my goals for 2020. These are my goals for 2021. And every year I kind of did that. And I did a bit of a roundup at the end of each year as well, of like, how much have we earned, how much profit have we made, and stuff like that. But as the business started to get bigger and bigger, it became like less and less the right thing to do, I guess, to share those kind of numbers. But what I do still want to do, and I think is important, is to set my goals and hold myself accountable. Because if you're a business owner out there and you've been in it for a while, you'll know that one of the most important things that you can possibly do is set goals and then hold yourself accountable to achieve them. And of course, this time of year is a good time to do it, right? Because it's like a new year, fresh start. You've probably had some ups and downs in the past year, like we have, and you've probably learned some hard lessons. And so it's a good time to just like pause and reset and go, what do I really want to focus on in the next year ahead? So here's some of my goals for the next year for Artisan Electrics. So I mentioned it in a post, I think a little while ago. Some of you guys might not have seen it, but we are in growth mode again. So I'm really grateful for the fact that we've got an amazing team. In fact, massive shout out to the whole Artisan team. It's been a busy year, and it's been a big year for us. This time last year, we were in a completely different place, and it was really, really tough. And we all got together. We made some big changes in the way that we run the business, and we got through some difficult times, and it's been our best year ever so far, which is really great. And it's just thanks to all the hard work of every single member of the team. So I'm super grateful to everyone for all the effort that they've put in over the last year. And because of that, it's exciting times, because it's now growth mode again, so we're looking at how do we take things to the next level. And one of the things that we really need to do as part of that is get a new premises, because our office is too small and cramped, and there's no space to grow really. We need a place to store materials. We need a bit of a workshop space, and ideally a studio space as well. So we are looking actively at getting ourselves a premises now, which is really exciting. So it's going to be like a commercial unit, which has office space, stores, workshop, studio, and room to grow as well, because we're looking at not just next year, but really the next 5 years onward, and how can we give ourselves room to grow with all of the expected growth that's going to happen in the coming years. So that's really exciting. So I'm actively looking out for that at the moment, and we've got 3 places that we're specifically looking at. So we're kind of in the decision-making process at the moment as to where we're going to end up, but of course we'll share it with you guys on the channel as and when we choose somewhere. So that's one of my big goals for this year, is just to get a premises, get it all fitted out, and then we're going to be a much better place for growth. But also in line with that, it's all about optimizing and systemizing the business, because to be honest, we get way too many leads than we can handle right now, which is probably why you've seen me I'm trying to build up a partner network. That's also part of my goals for this year. Is we got £10 million plus worth of leads last year, and we only turned over just over £1 million of actual paid work. So our conversion rate from like £10 million worth of work to actually £10 million of leads to like £1 million worth of actual work done, we're leaving a lot of money on the table, right? And a lot of it is just because the systems and processes are not in place to deal with that lead volume. So what we do is we try and filter out, and we just try and whittle it down to the best jobs, and just focus on those. But I'd like to be able to give everyone 5-star electrical service, and that's something I'm working on, and it's all part of this process of making the business more efficient and being able to deal with leads in the best possible way. But of course, because of YouTube, we get tons of leads outside of our area. So right now what we're doing is we're building up a partner network where we can help our customers. If we're not able to service them ourselves because they're a bit too far away and maybe it's not a very big job, then what we do is we can hand them over to a partner who we know is going to be able to deliver 5-star customer service and really help out the customer. And it's a way for us to be able to benefit from these leads that we're getting that we're not actually able to help as well. So that's another goal for this year. So it's optimizing our systems and processes, and it's building out our partner network. And if you think that you work the Artisan standard and you'd like to get more leads in your area, then definitely apply for that. I'll leave a link below where you can apply for our partner network. The other thing, though, as part of that is ultimately, of course, my long-term goal would be to be able to grow Artisan Electrics to be able to cover the whole country. And in order to do that, we need to build our systems and processes when it comes to training, to be able to train a whole plethora of electricians to deliver 5-star electrical work and 5-star customer service throughout the country. So we are building training manuals, processes, systems to be able to then potentially copy paste Artisan Electrics Cambridge into a new location and be able to do like a hub in a different location where we can offer that service to a whole new geographical area of customers. And how that actually looks in the end, I'm not quite sure yet. It could be that it's some kind of franchise model, or it could be that we just expand and create a second branch and a third branch somewhere else. But it's all a work in progress. You know, I'm just an electrician at the end of the day. So a lot of these big business decisions are quite overwhelming sometimes, and there's a lot of things to digest. So I'm getting a lot of advice and help around, you know, what's the best way to deal with this going forward. Sorry, I feel like I'm losing my voice a little bit. I'm getting a little bit croaky. And then the big thing for us really in terms of growth is, okay, we've got small teams still, really, you know, we're very small still in the grand scheme of things. So how can we do more work and bigger projects with the existing team? And that's what we're looking to focus on. So you might have seen our last big project that we did just a few weeks ago, this big ground mount system, loads of battery storage, really big high-end property. That's the kind of projects that we're really focusing on now, because we feel like those are the ones where we can really smash out of the park and differentiate ourselves from the competition. But also that applies to bigger commercial projects as well. So we've got some large commercial projects in the pipeline, solar farms, commercial industrial warehouses, community buildings, things like that, where we're going to be installing solar on those. And again, it enables us to do bigger projects with still a fairly small, tight-knit team, and able to take on more work and grow the business that way. So it's an exciting year ahead. There's lots coming up for Artisan Electrics, and that's without all of the social media stuff, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So keep throwing your questions in the comments. I can see a few questions pouring in. So let me see. Tech with Chris, thank you for your question. He says, what has been your biggest achievement in 2024? I'll be honest with you, it's just been turning around the business, because this time last year, as I said, we were really struggling and I had to make some hard decisions. I had to let some people go and I really had to tighten up the ship. And so the biggest achievement for me is looking back at where we were this time last year to where we are now. And we've had a really good year. And the future is bright now. And for me, that this time last year, the future of the business, I really didn't know whether we were going to survive or not. So it's just a massive relief, to be honest, to be where we are now. And like, we're in the Christmas holidays and everyone's off and there's enough money to pay everyone, plus to survive for several more months. And we've got growth in the pipeline ahead. And, you know, I think it's tough times for many businesses. It's been a tough year for a lot of businesses, not just us, a lot of businesses. I know some very good businesses that have not survived the last year. So I think just doing that, I know it sounds like it's not that big of achievement, but survival is actually, we've gone from, you know, challenging situation to really thriving. For me, that's just a massive achievement. And a massive win. But also on top of that, don't take for granted, like we've done some of our biggest projects ever. Like that project, that ground mount project was huge and it was overwhelming to take on. There was so much involved when it came to the design and the logistics of it. And we got it done, and we got it done in record time. So that's a massive achievement. And we've got now, because of that video and that project, now we've got multiple more similar projects and even bigger projects that we're quoting for. That's the power of YouTube. So it's just like onwards and upwards with these bigger and bigger and bigger projects now, which is really, really exciting. So yeah, that's my kind of feeling about 2024. And we've had some amazing results with videos. I'll go through some of the videos in our top hitting videos in the last year. You might be surprised, actually. So AAW Electric says, oh, interesting, sort of like a franchise. Potentially, you know, I've not quite figured out what the model would be, but I've had many people in the past say to me, if you ever do an Artisan franchise, let me know. So it's definitely not off the table. But with a franchise, you've just got to build out the systems and have everything completely nailed, so that then you can just kind of hand it to someone and go, right, here's your franchise, run with it. As you know, it's like McDonald's is the classic franchise, isn't it? Everything is systemized. You've got rules for everything, a book for everything that you follow. And then it's like, it's kind of a no-brainer thing to be able to just copy it in another location. And the challenge to do that with our business is what we do is so bespoke, so like high end, that, you know, it's not just making burgers, it's building beautiful bespoke electrical systems and renewable energy systems, and that is something that's a lot harder to do copy and paste on. So it's a challenge for sure, but I'm up for the challenge. So who else is, oh, are you still doing EICRs and replacement boards, says Stanley? Yeah, so we are. We still do the whole package of electrical work, not just renewables. Obviously, we are focused on renewables and EV chargers mostly, because that's where the demand is at the moment, and there's, you know, more profitable work there for us. It's bigger projects. It's more for us to get our teeth sunk into, which is the way that we need to be going with the business. But we still do the whole package. And often a customer will approach us about solar, and then we realize when we get the picture of their consumer unit that it's ancient, they need an EICR, then they need a consumer unit upgrade, and then all of the other stuff. So we end up doing like a really holistic approach and looking after the customer from start to finish with their electrics. And I believe that's really important. There's a lot of renewables companies out there that just chucks panels on the roof and stick a little subboard in with a battery, but they ignore all of the horrible stuff that's there already. And I just feel like that's not necessarily the best approach. You know, if you can really help to improve the customer's safety overall of their existing electrics, and that's a massive win as well. Dutch off-grid homesteading, I like your name. He says you want to open a business here in Holland. I'm your man. Well, I lived and worked in the Netherlands. I did volunteer work in the Netherlands for 2 years. I absolutely loved it over there. So I've got a lot of good friends in Holland. So you never know. Let's see what the future holds. Artisan goes international. I mean, we've got quite a lot of projects that have come in France over the last year as well, and some really interesting ones. I had somebody contact me who has a business in a ski resort this week. So you never know. We might be seeing some more international episodes coming on the channel as well. Have you ever not paid yourself a wage when things haven't had a good month, and have enough after paying all outgoing at the end of the month? Absolutely. Yeah. The number of times that I've not paid myself because I needed to pay everyone else first. And yeah, it is what it is. Like, when you're the business owner, if you make profit, then you can pay yourself, right? If you don't make profit, then you've got to cover all of your obligations first. It's one of those responsibilities of being a business owner. And they do, some people say, yeah, you should pay yourself first and all that. And of course, when times are good, you know, you should, because that's what you're in business for at the end of the day, is to make money and earn a wage. But ultimately, when the cards are down, if it's like, do I pay my employees or do I pay myself? Of course I pay my employees first, because that's my responsibility. I decided to take people on, and that's the way it is. Yeah. Currently involved in mapping out the whole business process on a central system, basically a manual of how the business works. I built ours on the Microsoft Share. Sounds interesting, Samuel. Definitely hit me up. I'd be interested to hear about that. Tech with Chris says, how often do you catch up with Corey? Yeah, we're in touch regularly. Every so often we have a little chat, a little phone call, see how things are going. So yeah, he's been gallivanting around the place lately, like I do. We both like to travel, so we have that in common. Are you seeing any issues with SolarEdge optimizer failures? We have had, I think, one. We've been doing SolarEdge now for like 3 years, and we've had one optimizer fail in 3 years, and we've probably fitted about 1,000 optimizers. So I don't know whether that's a good or bad failure rate, but for me, I think they're pretty reliable in general. Z06 says SiGen Store or Powerwall 3. It's a no-brainer for me. We've fitted both. We've fitted several Powerwall 3s now, and we've fitted quite a few SiGen Store, SiGenergy systems. SiGen Store wins hands down. Like, so much easier to install. The app and the user interface and everything is so much better. The commissioning process is super simple. It's stackable. It's expandable. The backup is UPS, not EPS, so it's instantaneous backup, and you've got a really nice backup gateway, not like the Tesla gateway, which is tight and like really hard to work with. Honestly, like, it's just a no-brainer for me. And I'm a massive Tesla fan, but their energy products still have a lot of room for improvement, in my opinion. But cost per kilowatt hour is obviously their competitive edge, I guess. So it's one of those things where some people want to go with a cheaper option. Powerwall 3 is definitely the cheaper option. What do you suggest is the best electrical work to start with, starting out, just like general electrical works, or start going down the renewables and car chargers? I definitely say just start small. It's really hard to just start doing renewables and EV chargers. I'd say EV chargers, to be fair, EV chargers is a good place to start, because the paperwork is not too bad. Like, you need to do your DNO notifications, so you need to be checking whether it's a looped supply or not, and if it is, then you need to get permission in advance. If it's not, then you can do a connect and notify, but you still need to notify the DNO. So there is some back office work that you need to do, as well as all the certification stuff, but it's not that much. Like, a one-man band can do it. Yeah. You got great examples of that, like Sota Electrical. He's smashing it with the EV. He's doing amazing. He's using our open quote software now that we've designed, and that's helping him, I think, with the paperwork side of things. But ultimately, like, you just got to do a bit of work in the evenings to do your DNO notifications, and they don't take that long, especially with the ENA Connect Direct stuff now. It makes it much easier. So I'd say EV is a good place to start, and the demand for EV is through the roof right now. I don't know if you guys are experiencing it, but for us, we are getting so many EV charging inquiries. I think what's happening is the interest rates are starting to go down, and that means that more and more people are starting to pull the trigger and get an EV. And so we're back into massive growth phase with EV charging at the moment. So definitely it's a good place to be. In terms of all the other stuff, yeah, bread and butter electrical work is always going to be there at the end of the day. So if you want to be busy and you want to just, help people with their electrics, whatever it might be, then you're going to have work for sure. But there's definitely more money in EV charging because there's more materials involved. It's a little bit more specialist, therefore there's less competition. So you can charge a bit more. So that's something to think about. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, so any DC to DC EV chargers on the market in the UK for domestic homes? Yes, Mark Donahue, you've obviously not seen our recent video, the SiGenergy EV DC charger, vehicle to home ready DC EV charger. Go and watch that video after this. Absolute game changer. It's going to be amazing for the market as soon as the vehicle manufacturers open up the vehicle to home functionality. Christy Smith says, female looking to get into the electrical industry. How do you recommend going about it? I'd say things are a really good place for females entering the industry right now. You know, it's less and less a male-dominated industry. Of course, it still is majority male, but there are more and more females getting into the industry, more and more help for females getting into the industry. And I think as well, with the kind of work that's coming in now, it's not so much like you don't just have to do like house bashing or whatever. You know, you can do the kind of work that is enjoyable and that's not too like intense and heavy. Not saying that females can't do that, but you know, it's there's more opportunity, I think, for females in this industry right now than there have ever been before. So definitely there's a space, and we see it a lot. There's a lot of great female Sparkies on social media who are showing their work and inspiring the next generation of female Sparkies, which is great. You know, one of the things that I would really like to do eventually is get a female Sparky on our team, because I think it would be really cool to be able to kind of showcase the diversity of having a female Sparky on the team as well, and you know, bring a different element to the channel. How do you go about getting into the industry? Just the same as anyone else, you know. You've just got to showcase who you are, your personality, your skills, your willingness to work. What I say to people if they want to come to work for Artisan Electrics is send us your CV, and don't make a rubbish CV. Like, put some effort into it and don't make it too long. Just make it one page and send us a 60-second video telling us about yourself. A video speaks way more than a CV could ever speak, and you know, you can really show someone what kind of person you are and how kind of diligent and intelligent you are through video. So do that. Contact as many people as you can. Use social media to your benefit, and I'm sure you'll manage to get a workplace. Absolutely. And there are even some companies now who only recruit female Sparkies that are led by a female Sparky, you know, and that's their unique selling point. So there's an opportunity there for sure as well, depending on where you are in the country. JBINC says, what are your go-to brands for consumer units and wiring accessories? So we tend to fit 𝐏𝐬𝐬𝐬 or Fusebox at the moment. 𝐏𝐬𝐬𝐬, we didn't fit for ages because they didn't do the double pole RCBOs, but now finally the mini RCBOs are double pole, and they're doing the bi-directional stuff as well for the renewables. So we've gone back to fitting 𝐏𝐬𝐬𝐬 again now because they are premium quality. However, Fusebox is decent as well, and the price is very reasonable. So we do still fit quite a lot of Fusebox stuff, and it just depends on the circumstance, really, which product fits best, depending on the situation. But yeah, both decent. And then like wiring accessories, we just tend to fit MK, Logic Plus, just good quality, solid stuff that, you know, tends to be reliable. Okay, wow, there's so many questions pouring in. Thanks guys for watching. It's really great to have you all here. I've missed doing this. It's been a while. Callum McMillan says, would you box Thomas Nagi? Oh, Thomas Nagi, wow, it's been a while. Like, I don't know, I think he's posting again. I've seen a few videos popping up of his channel, which is great because he kind of went quiet for a little while, but it seems like his business is really picking up again as well, and he's doing good. So I'm happy for him. And it's funny because in the past it was like he was the bar, you know, like we all wanted, all of us electrician YouTubers wanted to overtake Thomas Nagi, and now he's kind of like fallen behind a little bit, but you never know, he might catch up. There might be some more competition coming eventually. Have you ever electrocuted yourself? I once did, trying to mod an Xbox 360. Not fun. Yeah, of course. The worst one. Let me tell you the story about the worst one that I've ever had. So I was working in somebody's kitchen, and I was in the loft above the kitchen. It was like this weird kind of kitchen that had a loft above it, and they were having breakfast around the kitchen table, and I was just literally above in the loft hatch. And there was a junction box that I had to open and connect like a twin and earth to feed a new light, and I was just being lazy, and I was like, it was one of those round junction boxes as well. It wasn't even Vargos or anything. This is like when I was an apprentice, late apprenticeship, and I decided to just wire it up live. And then something happened, and I managed to put my hand on the junction box and screamed out like super loud. And they all came around the loft hatch to find out what was going on. And I was like, oh, it's just a really massive spider. Because I didn't want to look like a very unprofessional electrician. So I lied, which was not good. Don't lie, people. But yeah, I did, because I was just a bit embarrassed that I'd electrocuted myself. And well, not electrocuted, I'd got an electric shock in the loft, and I was too embarrassed to tell them that I was not working safely. So I just blamed it on the spiders instead. So yeah, that's happened. It's been a while, to be fair. I think the last time was really, it's 6 or 7 years ago. And that was another one where I did the same thing again. It like that, you just involuntarily make these crazy noises when it happens. And then the customer's like, you all right? And I was like, oh yeah, it was a static shock. It just took me by surprise. Yeah, bad. Don't do it. Just don't work live, people. Just work safe. Honestly, like, we're so careful now. And I'm so careful, because it only takes one bad shock to kill you, so it's not worth it. Although, we laugh about it in hindsight, it could have been no laughing matter. So it's very, very serious working with electricity. Right. Okay. So another one from our Electricians Business School page is about my personal goals. So let me tell you about that. So this is for you guys to keep me accountable. My personal goals for this year are to exercise daily. So I'm currently running regularly, but about 3 times a week, and I'm doing some weight training. I'm trying to get fit, but the 2025 is the year when I want to take it to the next level and exercise every day in some way. So, 30 minutes of exercise of some form. But I want to get into the best shape of my life, because I'm at that time in life now. Unfortunately, I'm 38, where it's only going one way, and it's going downhill now, unfortunately. The grey hairs are setting in, you see. I'm starting to go a bit bald on top, and, you get a little bit flabby around the edges if you eat too much pizza, unlike when I was a teenager. And I've had friends recently who've just had heart attacks and stuff, and you just think about things and you're like, flipping heck, if I don't take time to look after my health, I'm going to have to take time to be ill. So better to take time to look after my health. So yeah, that is one of my big priorities this year. And I have already been taking it quite seriously the last year, to be fair, but it's going to go to the next level in 2025. Another thing I'd really like to do is actually, for Lisa and I, we'd like to buy our own house at some point. If we find the right place, I'd love to do a bit of a renovation project, to be honest. I'd love to do like a renovation series on the channel. But yeah, we've all this time, we've been married like 18 years and 16 years. I'm over egging it a bit. Doesn't feel like that long, but no, we've been married 16 years and we've only been renting all this time, mainly because we like our flexibility. But we're in a position now where we'd maybe like to buy our first property, so that's something that we're thinking about. One of my biggest goals, to be honest, is very simple: just improve my focus, because I don't know if any of you guys experience this, but when you've got so much stuff going on, it's really easy to like get distracted. I have this like next shiny thing syndrome, where like something new pops up and I like, oh, focus on that and then focus on this. And sometimes the most important things, the biggest things, you don't focus on. And those are the things that's like the one thing that if you just focused on, you'd achieve way more. So that's my goal for 2025 as well, is just to keep working on my focus by, doing certain things that help me, like better time management, default diary, all of that kind of classic stuff. And just like blocking out time for specific things. And that will also just free a bit more time up for me to do volunteer work again, because I used to do a lot of volunteer work in the past. The last year, I've just been so focused on getting the business back out of a hole and back on track that I've had less time for that. So that's just one of the things I'm passionate about, and I really want to do a bit more of again in the coming year. And as well, I like to scuba dive, and I live in a beautiful place where scuba diving is possible at the moment. So I'd like to do my advanced scuba diving course. So that is, part of my personal goals for 2025. Some more questions here from the comments on YouTube. What is the most complicated electrical problem you've encountered in your career, and how did you solve it? I love this question because it ties into one of our most viewed videos that we had last year, which was this crazy fault with a boiler. And I unplugged the boiler because it was plugged in and the plug pins were actually live. And there was just weird stuff going on, and it was really hard to figure out. But eventually I figured it out, and you're going to have to watch the video to find out exactly what the problem was. But it was mind-bending, that fault, and I really enjoyed getting to the bottom of it. And that's probably one of the most complicated problems that I've ever encountered in my electrical career. So go watch that video. Alex Cheatham says, currently working for a company but trying to set up on my own, but NAPIT and NIC both seem to require pre-assessment of works. How do you suggest I get assessed and get registered? So you're probably going to have to get some friends or family to let you do some work at their house that can then be inspected. It's a bit like with solar, you've got to get your first solar job over the line, but not give a certificate until you've had it inspected. So it's a little bit of like a chicken and egg situation. Best way is just to get some family or friends to let you do a bit of work there. You might have to do it for free or at a discount in order to get it done, but then at least you've got an installation that you can show to the assessor. That's what I would say. Rune International, when will you make more Tools for Sparks videos? That's a great question. We have gone a bit dead on Tools for Sparks, I must admit, and the reason is I'm running out of inspiration. So obviously every time we get a new Hilti tool, which is exciting, we put a video out on there about that. But other than that, I've been struggling to find good, innovative new tools to share with people. And I don't want to just share any old boring stuff on there. So we did quite a few tool battles, which I quite enjoyed, of cheap versus expensive and stuff like that. But right now, we're just kind of parking Tools for Sparks until we get some more inspiration and we can get going with it again. Because I just think I don't want to put out content that I'm not excited about just for the sake of it. And we've got way more other stuff that we can do videos about. So sorry for you fans of Tools for Sparks, but if you do have any amazing tools that you've discovered that you definitely think we should review on there, I would love to hear from you about that. So feel free to give us some inspiration to work with. Wow. Okay. So sorry, there's quite a lot of questions here, so I'm just going to keep running through them. Yeah, quite a few people relating to my my electric shock debacle there. Any advice on shin splints? What? Okay, I'm not sure what that's about. Thank you for the comment, Clive. You're very kind. Hi, Jordan. I'm year 11, looking to do an apprenticeship at 16. I have an employer for the apprenticeship. What do you think the likelihood of me getting into the colleges? That's a really good question. I don't know what the availability is like in college right now. I know that when we tried to get Ruben in, it was a nightmare, a real nightmare, because there were no college places. So he had the place with us, with the employer, but he couldn't get a college space for ages. But that might have changed now. So I'm not really sure, to be honest. Clive says, Jordan, love seeing the way you use drones as an asset within the business to actually help. More businesses should use drones. Well, yeah, we use drones obviously for our videos, but we also use drones to do drone surveys for our solar installations. So it's important to get high quality, high res photos of the roof before you start messing around with it, just so that you've got proof if anyone came back to you and said, oh, you've messed my roof up or whatever, but also just to see potential obstacles and things like that you might not have realized about from satellite view, and just to properly measure and prepare things for the solar installation. So I'm glad you like our drone footage. Oh wow, that's interesting. Google YouTube Premium to avoid a Screwfix advert. Now I get a Google advert. Sorry about that. I don't have any control over the adverts on this live stream, by the way. But YouTube Premium will definitely reduce the number of adverts that you get, at least. Clive says, I want to wire a garage as a personal workshop. Is it easy to get a Sparky to inspect my DIY work and pass it? I know you don't like doing it. No, don't do it. No good electrician's going to sign off your DIY work. I'm sorry, but that is the final matter. Have you ever had a customer ask you to install something completely ridiculous like an electrical powered hammock or an electric dog door? The reason I'm laughing so much is, yeah, we do get like really random requests sometimes. So one of them, it was like a vivarium for some tortoises that we had to wire up some like heaters for the tortoises in the garden. That was pretty cool. What else have we had? I mean, electric door for a chicken hut. That's another one. You know, to open and close automatically when it gets dark, stuff like that. Yeah, there's some great things that people come up with for sure. Yeah. Hi, Jordan. Been watching your videos for ages now. Have you thought about expanding to France as your business? Yeah, I thought about expanding to France, but right now it's just too complicated. So I'm just doing consultancy basically for people in France. So there's a lot of Brits out here who have really nice big properties and they want to get work done like solar and battery or various things, but they don't speak very good French or they are not confident in the French electricians. So I'm able to kind of be a bit of a middleman and offer a consultancy service to just help them get like a design done and hook them up with somebody who's going to be reliable and things like that. Because believe it or not, if you think it's hard to find good tradespeople in England, takes it to another level in France, trust me. Yeah. In fact, I had a customer phone me 2 days ago who said, I've just had solar installed. I live in the north of France. And the installers came all the way from Portugal. They drove all the way up from Portugal to fit solar panels for this guy in the north of France. Absolutely mad. Have you ever had a customer? We've already done that one. What would you like to see the big EV charger manufacturers change? Or I think just like, I mean, I feel like EV chargers now are almost at the kind of like the peak where they can't get that much better. But quality of parts, like there are certain manufacturers that we've installed in the past, like, and the number of failures is just ridiculous. Like the My Energy Zappy stuff, like the amount of failures and the warranty callbacks and stuff, it's just ridiculous. And I know a lot of customers are just a lot of installers are just not fitting them anymore because of that. So just having reliability, that's really key. I mean, that's why I recently said that I just think like Hypervolt is one of the best chargers out there because they don't fail. Like we've had barely any failures and they're super easy to install, super easy to commission. That's all you want as an installer, right? Is just an easy install without too many headaches. And as a customer, you want something that just works and doesn't fail. So yeah, I think they just need to improve the quality of manufacturing, really. Some of them. And you get what you pay for as well at the end of the day. All these cheap junk products that are being sold out there, I just think like it's just a disaster waiting to happen, unfortunately. Any suggestions on courses electricians should go on to gain more knowledge? Emergency lighting, fire alarm, EV, solar, etc. Yeah, so I've always tried to do like a course per year. I think that's a good rule to follow, is like do a course every year to level yourself up as an electrician. So I did EV, I did solar, then I did battery. Now, because I'm business, like I'm really on the business, not in the business so much, I tend to do a lot more kind of business related training and things like that, and personal like development and things. But I think for any electrician, you need to be able to know how to fit EV chargers. So if you've not done the EV charging course yet, I think like it's far beyond time that you should be doing that course, because there's just going to be so much more work. Like, we're only scratching the surface on EVs still. There's a ton more work to be done there, and now is the time to get on board for sure. And solar and battery, of course, but there's just way more hoops to jump through with MCS, and it's just like, it's a whole nother field, to be honest. It takes like years to kind of get confident with it, and to be able to really properly grow a business, you need to have to be able to do it, you need to have a decent sized business. Doing solar as a one-man band, it's just not a good idea. You're just inviting trouble, basically. So yeah, that's well, what's the funniest thing a client has asked you to fix, thinking it was an electrical problem, like an air conditioner that's actually just dirty? I mean, we've had we've got one customer, and I don't understand it, but their bathroom fans just fail like every 6 months, and we've literally got like a maintenance contract with them now to go back every 6 months and clean the fans out. And I don't know what it is. Like, they just make so much dust that these fans just get clogged up with dust. I don't think they're even using like talcum powder or anything like that. It's just like, these people just make a lot of dust. I don't know where it comes from, but it's just hilarious, because we literally have to go back every 6 months and just take the cover off the fan and clean all of the blades of the fan, and then it works fine. But it's just very bizarre. Yeah. That's one little thing. Okay, yeah. So let's talk about some news, right? So what is coming for, well, actually, let's first talk about some of the highlights from 2024 with our YouTube channel, right? So believe it or not, 2024 was a bit of a quiet year for the YouTube channel. Like, it's not been the biggest growth we've ever had, but we've still grown quite a lot. So, I was just looking at the stats. We've had 9.8 million views in 2024. Nearly 1 million watch hours, which just blows my mind. Like, people have watched us for 1 million hours. That's nuts. We've gained 35 and a bit thousand subscribers. So, still a lot of people. Like, that is a small stadium full of people who've subscribed to our channel in the last year. And the ad revenue has been decent as well, like nearly 60K of ad revenue in the last year. So it's been, considering it's been a slow year, because really I have been so focused on the electrical business and just getting it really running smoothly again. It's been a decent year because of that. Okay, well, not because of that. Despite that, I would say it's been a decent year. And I think part of the reason for that is we've decided to work smarter, not harder, with the YouTube channel. So with the team, because it's not just me, it's Nathan and Callum as well behind the scenes, and Max, who helps us with the camera work from time to time. The goal has been, don't just like throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, but actually, like, before we make a video, know that it's going to do well. And you'll see that from some of the videos that we've done recently. For example, our biggest hitter video that we've made in the last year was actually not that long ago. It was just a few weeks ago. It was the one, it was "This fault defeated multiple electricians. Can we fix it?" And it was just me doing a fault find, and it's gone down really well. But we planned that video out so that we knew that it would do well. And the results are, it's had 400K views in like less than 2 months. So that just shows how working smarter, not harder, when it comes to producing content is really important. And so part of the thing that has been going on in the background, which is one of the big news things I wanted to share with you guys, is that the electrical side of the business and the media side of the business have always been combined, right? So we've had this bizarre setup where we do electrical work, we get paid for it. We make YouTube videos, we get paid for that. And because we make YouTube videos, we get customers for the electrical business. And because we're able to do electrical work at customers' houses who have found us on YouTube, we're able to make videos. And these two kind of parts of the business feed each other, which is amazing. And it blows my mind when I think about it, because we essentially get paid to market ourselves, right? Like the media side of the business, in inverted commas, last year made over £250,000. And that's just without doing any electrical work. We made over £1 million turnover from electrical work, and over £250,000 from the media side of things. But the challenge in the past, and this will blow your mind, is that sometimes we've made a loss doing electrical work, and we've only been profitable as a business because of the YouTube and the social media side of things. And that has been my Achilles heel, really, with Artisan. And that has been the thing that I've really been trying to work on in the last year, is how do we get both sides of the business running independently, profitably, without each other? And that's where we've got to now at this point, is that both sides of the business are independently successful and profitable. So if anything could happen to me, right? One day I could not be able to make YouTube videos anymore or whatever. Electrical side of the business will still be fine. And the other way, like if the electrical business changed or something happened, the media side of the business still be successful. That's been one of my biggest goals for the last year, and that has happened. And now we're actually at the point where, because of that, we've been able to split the businesses out into like a family group. So we've got a group structure now. So we've got a holding company, Artisan of Everything Limited, which is all solely owned by myself and my wife anyway. But then within that, we've got the family. We've got Artisan Electrics, and we've got a new company. This is one of my exciting things, which is the little teaser that I did on Instagram earlier with the logo. Our new company now is called Artisan Motion. And that is the video production, content creation, and marketing side of the Artisan family, which is now standing on its own 2 feet. And what that means is that we can do other stuff, right? So we're not just limited to making YouTube videos for Artisan Electrics now. We can do other stuff, video content for different brands about their products and everything, because we've learned over the years how to produce super high quality video content to help people promote their products. So that's one thing that now we can take to the next level if we want to, and offer that as a service to other companies. But we've also learned a ton about how to grow and scale an electrical business or a trades business via YouTube. And so one of the really exciting things that we've got coming up in 2025 is we're launching the first ever cohort of the YouTube for Trades Masterclass. And if you know me, if you've been watching me for a while, you'll know that I just like teaching. It's kind of one of the things that I'm really passionate about. So for me now, to be able to share all of the 7 years of learnings that I've had from growing the Artisan Electrics YouTube channel to where it is today, to now be able to basically take that and put it into an intensive 6-month course and guide and help someone to grow from 0 subscribers to over 1,000 subscribers in 6 months, and help them to actually start making money from YouTube, whether it be via ad revenue or via leads that they're getting from their business, is just super exciting. So that is happening, and it's happening imminently. So we've got 10 spaces, and I'm looking for 10 people to basically help absolutely smash it on YouTube with their trades business at 2025. But it's 10. Well, actually, there's only 8 spaces left now, because two have already gone like immediately as soon as we announced it on the electricians community. So we've got 8 spaces left, but you've got to be a particular person to really qualify for this. So one of the things is you've either got to have already kind of made a start on YouTube, or you've got to already have a business that's got enough people to warrant being able to massively increase the number of leads, because as I said earlier, you know, we got 10 million pounds worth of leads in the last year from YouTube. I remember 4 years ago when I first started getting my first ever leads from YouTube, and it was intense, you know. So you've got to kind of have the business infrastructure to be able to handle it as you start to get more leads coming in from YouTube. And the ultimate thing is amazing, right? How much do people spend on Google AdWords and stuff? But you can just get paid to market yourself eventually. Like when you get monetized on YouTube, you can make organic content showcasing your work, helping customers to know, like, and trust you, and then they'll come and they'll buy your product and service because they know, like, and trust you. That is the power of YouTube. And so we've created the ultimate recipe book where we've taken all of our best videos for getting new customers, the recipes, we've broken them down so that people can basically use those recipes to create their own version of videos to generate their own leads in their own area. We've created the ultimate kit list where we share with you all the stuff that you should and should not buy, because people waste a ton of money buying fancy equipment. You really don't need to. It's just a few basic things that you really need to invest in if you want to start on YouTube. And yeah, it's a 6-month cohort where we basically do a weekly group coaching call. We talk about a different subject each week. It's all going to be recorded so everyone can look back on the lessons, and we're going to build out more and more course material over the 6 months. And because it's the first one, we're doing a super discounted early adopter price. But as I say, like, the places are super limited. There's only 8 spaces. So if you do think that might be of interest to you, there's going to be a link in the description of this video where you can book a call with me basically tomorrow. I've just got, I think, like 10 slots tomorrow for a 20-minute consultation call to see if it might be a good fit for you. And then basically the end of the day tomorrow, the places will all be gone. It's going to be closed. And then we start the cohort on the 7th of January. So yeah, super exciting. So that's one of my big announcements really for 2025 is new company, you know, new opportunities with the media side of the business. And it just enables us to grow that side as a separate business now, as a separate business model with lots of potential other interesting things, creative things that we can do. But it doesn't mean that we're going to be taking the foot off the pedal with the Artisan YouTube channel at all. Like, Artisan Electrics is still got so much potential for growth, as I said earlier, and we're going to be making a ton of amazing video content for you guys. We've got a great video that's going to be dropping on Monday next week, which is all about how to become an electrician. And we did some very interesting interviews in that video about different ways that people got into the industry. In fact, that is available to channel members right now because they get early access. But yeah, it's just like, it's quite surprising the way some people get into the industry quicker than you might think, but also to a high standard as well. So yeah, that's a great video. And then we got some really interesting projects that we're working on showcasing. And I know you guys just love a good fault find. So I'm just going to try and get out and do a few more fault finding videos for you guys, because those ones seem to go down really well. But yeah, anyway, I am about to lose my voice. I think I've shared with you most of the news that I wanted to share. I'll leave the Artisan Motion website as well. In fact, you know what? I'm going to put all of the links now in the description so that you can see what we're all about. So the YouTube for Trades Masterclass is here. Right, let me just drop it right now. Boom. And then the Artisan Motion website is just artisanmotion.com, and made a fancy little website. So go and check it out, and let me know what you think. It's pretty new, but it kind of showcases some of our videography skills, and it gives us a placeholder. So yeah, that's awesome. And I have now officially lost my voice, so I will say thank you for joining, and see you all soon.